Welcome to the U World Order Showcase Program, the platform dedicated to highlighting visionary entrepreneurs and coaches who are shaping the U World economy. Each week, we're celebrating the power of the individual and coming together to uplift and empower one another to reach new heights of growth and prosperity as we showcase a coach, company, or entrepreneur stepping out to be the change they want to see in the world. With our collective efforts, we're creating a world where every person has the tools to realize their full potential and thrive like never before. Join us today as we chat with this week's guest to learn how they got started, what they're doing, and how they're making a difference in shaping the U World Order.
Hi, and welcome to the U World Order Showcase podcast. Today we're talking with Sally Gimon. Sally was motivated to become a real estate investor when her mom became sick in October of 2018. Sally was 53 and needed to make a change in her life quickly. She had been an insurance agent for 20 years and had used her experience to make some positive changes. Now she shares her information weekly in her real estate group at Win-Win Women TV. In July of 2020, she bought a bank-owned property for $20,000 that would go to auction for $50,000 when COVID restrictions were lifted. She knew her capital gains would be about $7,140 and researched how the rich paid so little in taxes. This led her to found the business and beneficial Spendthrift trusts. Please help me to welcome Sally Gimon.
Okay, great.
Welcome to the show, Sally. So we've been talking a little bit before the show, and it turns out our parents we're probably neighbors and know each other.
Exactly. Small world.
Small world in Goodyear, Arizona. So you were going to tell me about what you had to do when you had to move back there to be with your dad. So
correct. Originally, I got laid off. I was working for Monster.com. I stayed with Monster until 2007 when I got laid off. Literally the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, I was flying out on Thanksgiving Day to spend time with my parents. My mom's like, hey, just put $1,000 on a house. They're building houses there. It was just when the bubble started. And they kept telling me it was Palm Valley. And every 6 months they said, can we postpone your house for another 6 months? We'll take $5,000 off your house. So I got almost $20,000 taken off my base price of my house. And I'm like, this is excellent. I sofa surfed. I stayed with my parents for a while, but it was a deal for me. I enjoyed that.
That is so cool. So what do you actually do? We both got to watch Goodyear, Arizona kind of blossom. We were talking about weather in the beginning but how Goodyear has like this spring season, which is beautiful, even though it's in the desert. But when our parents first moved there, it was just rose fields everywhere and a few houses in these really unique communities. But how did you get started and what are you doing now?
How I got started, true story, my parents drove from Goodyear to Charlotte for my oldest nephew's wedding. Along the way, unfortunately, my mom got septic little blood. She was in the hospital for 13 months on a ventilator. She was in 13 months on the ventilator, in the hospital for 15 months. I was going to their house every 3 days to go through their mail. And in December, it was a very thick envelope. It was 27 pages for her first month in the hospital. A Medicare statement, and you unfold, it's folded in half. And it was $172,000 for her first month in the hospital. Thank God my dad was retired military. They had TRICARE for life. I was working as a Medicare broker. I, commission and salary. I had student loan debt still. I had credit card debt. My car, I went through in a green light. A guy ran a red light, T-boned me. I had no insurance, so I had 2 car payments. I was desperate, if that makes sense. So I called my friend Glenn, who was a real estate investor. He's like, hey, we're going to have a Christmas party this coming Saturday. They've got teenagers. And he's like, we've got a Christmas pageant. We'll be there later. I don't know about you, Jill, but walking to a party by yourself, That is scary as anything. So I geared myself up. I made a pasta salad. You had to take something. It was the best decision of my life. I got involved with real estate, started real estate investing, doing what's called notes, where I am the mortgage on the house, the paper on the house, and people pay me their mortgage. I started wholesaling. And in July of 2020, I took down the deal of the week. It was a bank-owned reverse mortgage. The contract was I had to pay $20,000. And then when COVID got lifted, it would go for $50,000. I'm going to make $30,000 doing nothing other than holding paper. I had 13 months. I knew that $30,000 with capital gains short term would be $7,100 in capital gains. And I'm like, let me figure out how not to pay them. In my real estate group, it's a national group. A gentleman named Garrett Gunderson wrote a book called What the Rockefellers Do. I had read the book before I joined. I went through and I Googled every name, called people, everything else. I found the trust that is for 1099 income earners. They save over 70% of their federal taxes. For real estate investors, they won't pay capital gains, short-term or long-term, interest income, dividend income, rental income, or royalties. And my house, it went for sale, auction in North Carolina on August 28th, 2021. Instead of $50,000, it went up to $64,000. I made $44,000 and I saved $10,550 with the trust. I started teaching a mastermind in my real estate group that was based in Phoenix, Goodyear, everything else. I had a partnership with the gentleman who ran it. We were in a real estate deal, and I came out to North Carolina, my brother's house, for Christmas. And on January 12th of 2002, I sent a simple text going, hey, what happened to our agreement? Because he lied about something. Got onto a scheduled Zoom with him on January 13th, and Mr. Jekyll showed up. I mean, he's my mentor. He's my friend. He was a business partner. And he's like, well, I can't trust you. You're calling me a liar. I'm like, I only asked what happened. I didn't call you anything. And he goes, well, I have to put your mastermind on hiatus for 6 weeks. And I'm like, I'm not a human yo-yo. I don't want to do this anymore. You work with coaches. My coach, do you know Bob Proctor and Sandy Gallagher, the Proctor Gallagher Institute? I'm a student of Thinking Into Results. My coach, Susan, says, I'm going to tell you 3 really hard things to do. You need to get a new real estate group, you need to move, and you need to never talk to him again. I'm like, wow. So talk to my brother. They have a 5-bedroom house, beautiful house here in outside Charlotte. Moved everything over. And in March of 2020, in the middle of COVID, 2021, in the middle 2022, in the middle of 2022, I started my own business from the ground up. I mean, with my real estate group, they knew me, they liked me, everything was going well. Great cash cow. All of a sudden, it was gone, and yeah, it was a shocker. And I'll say this today, it was the best thing that happened to me because I'm doing well with my business and I'm helping other people. But when I was comfortable, I had to become extremely uncomfortable, if that makes sense.
It does. Sometimes when we get in those really, really scary spots, the biggest changes for the better happen.
Exactly.
So who's your ideal customer? Who are you helping?
My ideal customers are people who make at least $50,000 in real estate a year. When you think about that, that's I don't care if they're fix and flipping houses, if they're wholesaling or auction houses. $50,000 is going to be $13,900. Or if they're a 1099 income person, they've got to be making probably about $7,000 or more per month to make the trust worthwhile. Mm-hmm. But I'm working with business brokers. I don't know if you know this. When someone sells a business, if it's a car wash, if it's a restaurant, if it's a online store, it doesn't matter if you did depreciation on the company. If you have a loan out, if you have debt on the house, if you sell the company, let's just one of my clients just sold a restaurant for $3 million. Right off the top, the federal government is going to take 15% or 20% in capital gains for the sale of that business. They don't care if you've got debt. I had talked to both the husband and wife. They're either going to save $460,000 or $600,000. And the wife knew about the Spendthrift Trust. She didn't know how much it was going to save them. She calls me in happy tears going, that's going to change our retirement. He's 69, she's 68. And, I'm not anti-American, but the rich know this. The poor have a safety net. It's the middle class. He started his restaurant 42 years ago, and he wanted to sell it for as much money as possible. And, the business broker didn't even know there was such a thing as a Spendthrift Trust. And now he sent me 3 more clients. And, I reach out to business brokers because I don't mean to say this, but small business people want to save as much money as possible. And
they have to.
They have to, exactly. $460,000 changes someone's retirement. I mean, what if either the husband or wife has a stroke or has a heart attack? My mom's medical bill for 1 month on a ventilator, $172,000. That could be devastating for people.
Yep. Yeah. That's an amazing thing. Is it your trust? Did you set it up? Or is it something?
I actually work. Work for a law firm, a private law firm that has the patent on it, and the trust is patented. It's legal. It's in the IRS tax code, and it has gone in front of the United States Supreme Court twice. So it's both times it's been honored on it. I just did. I do every Monday night, 8 p.m. I do a Q&A, and I had a real estate agent, a commercial real estate agent on there, and she's like, I've got so many people to talk to about this because real estate agents are going to be paying, depending on what your taxes are, when you're 1099, it's between 10% to 37% you pay every year to the federal government for what you make. That's a lot of money. I mean, that's money you could be saving.
And then the Social Security on top of that.
Exactly.
Because you have to pay both sides. Most people, when they're becoming entrepreneurs, don't really realize the tax implications.
Exactly.
Of becoming self-employed.
And just to help people save money, it's a wonderful thing to help them save money because so many people don't know about it. And when they do learn about it, they're like, wow. Like one of my friends in my real estate group just sold 49 shares of his marketing company. It's a 3-year-old marketing company. And, he posted something and I just sent him a simple message. I'm like, I can help you save capital gains. He's like, what's that? He went to his CPA and he goes, oh yeah, you'll have to pay some. The CPA didn't even know how much he would pay. I saved him $100,000 just starting the Spendthrift Trust. We're going to put his rental income in there. He's got Airbnbs in there because the trust will save you taxes, keep your information private. And then the most important thing with Airbnbs, it'll keep you from paying any judgments. I can't stop you from being sued, but it'll stop you from paying the judgment. If the person's injured, they'll get it. But one of my
should have
clients,
insurance for that.
Correct. But sue you for everything you have. That won't happen if that makes sense. So he's now posted in several different places going, Sally saved me $100,000. I'm like, that's a lot of money to I'll be honest, he's 56 years old. That's to him, that's going to be a lot of money. Do more real estate, save it, put it in wherever he wants to put it. But I could do a lot with $10,000, let alone $100,000.
Yeah, that's really exciting, and it's not something that's widely known out there that you can help people with.
Correct.
Wow.
97% of the trusts in the United States sold by CPAs and attorneys are much less. They're only about $1,000. But the only thing they do, what my parents had, is just avoid probate. Well, when we sold my parents' house in Goodyear, my brothers and I, we weren't on the title. We had to pay all the capital gains. They bought the house. I don't know when your parents bought the house. My parents bought their house for $118,000. We sold it for $339,000, and we had to pay the capital gains on that. My brother's like, why wasn't this? Why couldn't we do something in the trust? But we didn't get it into the trust in time. So yeah, we had to pay so much.
So how do people get the real estate in the trust? Because I'm going to be talking to you. I'm going to be talking to my dad here shortly because I'm in the same boat. We're not on the title, and my sisters and I we're the beneficiaries of the trust, but we're not.
Correct.
Our parents were very similar.
Correct. So it's an easy thing to do. If it's your own personal house, you're going to do you're when you get the trust, you're going to put the house into the trust. It's going to pay for your water bill. It's going to pay for your electricity. It's going to pay for your garbage pickup. But with your personal house, you're not going to change the deed on it until you decide you're going to sell it. So let's say you're going to stay in your house for another 10 years. In April of 2033, you'll change the deed, and then you'll go to sell it. When you're married, you can take up to $500,000 in capital gains. When you're widowed, divorced, or single, you can take $250,000, save $250,000 in capital gains. My parents' house, even if they were married, if my dad went to go sell it, it would have been so much. He would have more than that in capital gains. So and the neat thing is, how many sisters do you have?
I have 2 sisters.
Okay. So it could be an entire family trust. I have my brothers, my sister-in-laws, my 9 nieces and nephews. I even have 2 great niece, one great niece and one great nephew, all in the trust. For birthday and Christmas, I buy them silver coins, so they have something in the trust. If they want to sell the silver coin, be my guest. But they'll do it through the trust, so they don't pay, hopefully, capital gains. I don't know how much they're selling their coins for. But my nephew, who's 19 in Hawaii, he's like, I just sold my coin. I'm like, okay. So, yes.
Very fun. Very fun. And how do people get a hold of you to find out how to get?
Correct.
Well, let me ask you one more question.
Sure.
So we would set up a trust, my sisters and I, and my dad, and I could have my kids come in if they wanted also.
Correct.
So we would all be part of a trust.
Correct.
And we could put all of our stuff in it.
Correct. Your vehicles, the vehicles, everything else. The book, what Rockefellers do, he had changed the title to What Billionaires Do. It's about the Rockefellers, their trust. It's the same trust the Rockefellers and U.S. presidents have. The Rockefellers trust is called The Office. It's 7 generations old. Mine's only 3 generations right now. It has almost 400 people all using the same EIN number. So your sister has one EIN number, the same EIN number, but has a different bank account. Maybe she has a joint bank account with her and her husband. You have a different bank account. They won't know what you're doing. Your other sister won't know what the 2 of you are doing. Your children, it could be set up that way. And, I'm the only one in my family who does real estate, but just keeping the liability, if you have a car accident or something, you could save money. You'll save money doing that and everything else.
So how much does it cost to start these kinds of trusts?
One trust, either the business trust or the beneficial trust, one-time payment is $20,500. Most of my clients, I have about 114 clients at this time. Most of them only have one. About 7 of us have both. Both trusts would be $37,000 one-time payment. That comes with a retainer fee to talk to a CPA. Let's say you start the trust in June. You won't be filing your taxes until April, and you'll have questions. They'll come with a team to help you transition. Literally yesterday, I had a meeting with a gentleman who has a Spendthrift trust from somebody else, and he doesn't even know how to put his belongings into the trust. He paid whoever it was that sold him the trust, and he can't get a hold of him. He's like, "Do you mind if I talk to you?" And I'm like, I'll give you what I know, but I don't know your trust, but here's how to do things. But, he's flipping a house, and I explain, do from your LLC, do 2 simple bill of sales. On June 16th, I'm transferring 123 Main Street to your own name. And then the second bill of sale on June 16th, I'm transferring 123 Main Street from my name into the trust. And he goes, "That's so easy. Why didn't they tell me that?" And, he paid quite a bit of money, more money than I did. And he's just like, "No one's told me what to do with the trust." I think that's criminal.
So the business, yeah, I do too. But the business trust is for the groups, and the beneficial trust is probably what like our parents did, where they put all their assets in there, but you're still going to have to pay capital gains on stuff when it when it's sold.
Correct. So the business trust is for 1099 income people. The other trust is for all investors. So I do keep it separate. I do run 3 online marketing companies in my trust, in my business trust. So I was at Walmart the other day and getting an oil change, and I have a red debit card and a blue debit card. And the kid, he's probably 18 years old. He's laughing. He's like, "Oh, it's like what was that movie? Nemo, The Matrix."
Oh.
The Matrix, because I had to pay the red debit card, paid for the oil change. The only thing the beneficial trust does not pay for, which gets a little bit confusing, is your food, fun, and fashion. It's easy to work around it. Like my car is a 2015 car. Blue Book value says it's only worth $12,000, but when I bought it back in 2015, it was $27,500. I can do a demand letter tax free up to that amount, but I just used different debit cards just to make it easy, so I don't have to do a demand letter. So my spinach, my frozen pizza, and my ice cream were on the blue debit card.
That's my mind is blown. I don't even know what question to ask next. So, well, let's circle around to what is the most important thing that you want people to know about all of this stuff.
Again, I usually talk to do a lot of Zooms. I talk to people just to tell them about it. One of the things that I've run into quite a bit, there is a thing, I don't know if you know about real estate investing, but you can do what's called a 1031 exchange and avoid the capital gains. As soon as you stop doing the 1031 exchange, so these are adult children whose parents might have done this, and then all of a sudden they get a tax bill from the IRS going, "I don't know what this is," and it's because they didn't continue the 1031 exchange. If everything was done in the trust, worst case scenario, if the United States is no longer here, if the trust would go away. But it comes from England, way back when King Henry VIII started the Church of England. So it's several hundred years old. It's contract law. So if the federal government, if the Congress gets together and changes it, St. Patrick's Day 2024, saying this trust is not legal anymore, they can't go and change a trust that's already out there. I'll just make my money from real estate investing and crypto investing. I won't be able to sell the trust anymore if they change the rules.
Wow. Not what I expected at all from this conversation, but
Correct.
So helpful, Sally. Wow. So I have a bunch of links that people can get a hold of you through, but you want to tell them the best way to reach you?
Correct. My website is thetrustisyou.com. I'm going to change it on it. They can reach out to me so they can talk about it and find out about it, because I want to help as many middle-class Americans need to know about this. Because do you know who Grant Cardone is, a real estate investor?
Yeah.
I have him on recording saying that he doesn't want people to know about it. So if he comes up to your town, you're looking at a possible real estate, you're going to fix and flip the house and you're only going to make 8% rate of return. You're like, "Oh, that's a little bit skinny." He can swoop in, take that over, save the 23.8% plus the 8%. And he's just like, he goes, "This is my secret way of real estate investing." I'm like, I want Grant Cardone to send me a cease and desist letter, because I tell that story as much as I can, because that's just not right. I mean, I'm not anti-American. I love this country. I love what we can do here. But the first page of the IRS tax code says it's up to each individual to save taxes on their own. This is not taught in high school. It's not taught in college. I talk to CPAs who tell me this is completely wrong. And I'm like, here's a book, the Scott book on trust. It's listed in here. It's the 5th edition. This, it's a legal trust. It really is.
Wow. There's so much we don't know. I
Exactly.
mean, every day I find out something new that is just like, wow, had I known that. Yeah.
Well, that's with you doing podcasts, Jill, you get to talk to all kinds of interesting people and learn all kinds of new things.
I do. And it's so amazing. And it's really, honestly, it's been my honor to get to chat with you today.
Oh, thank you.
You may have just changed my life. So
I'm not saying I hope I change your life, but if I can, the couple who sold the restaurant, it changed their retirement. It's going to change they've got 3 children. All 3 children want nothing to do with the restaurant. And the whole joke was the son saw a TikTok video. I post on 6 different social medias. He showed it to his father. And the mom who called me, Marianne, she's just like, my kids are not allowed to bring cell phones to the table. That changes as of today. They can bring their cell phones to the table. And, something simple like that, where a son's looking out for the parent or you're looking out for your parents, if it can change, who doesn't want to save money, keep their information private, and not worry about being sued? Because in the United States, 1 in 3 people get sued in their lifetimes. I mean, if you've ever been to Las Vegas, if you go down the strip, I heard that 70% of the billboards there all talk about how to sue people. My brother, who lived in the Netherlands for 5 years, he came back and he's just like, why are all the billboards in Charlotte have about how to sue people? I'm like, that's what attorneys do.
Yep. It's just like, instead of helping each other, it's so adversarial. And I, for one, want to change that. That's exactly my purpose in life, is to make the world a better place, because individuals are coming together one-on-one and making a difference.
Exactly.
Our conversation ripples out, and the TikTok video, yes. A ripple effect.
And I don't know if people are on TikTok. I get more business from TikTok than I do from LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, and I'm on Twitter. I get more business, people coming to my Monday night meetings, people are actually reaching out going, how can I contact, things, because there's so much business on TikTok. I know people are worried about China, and everyone keeps telling me, oh, they're going to shut down TikTok, but I don't dance. Yeah, I have 6 nieces, and they're like, oh, Aunt Sally, don't get on TikTok. You're going to embarrass us. I'm like, I can't dance. I have, the followers I have, the people I'm helping with, one person I helped with moved from St. Louis to Puerto Rico to save on taxes. Puerto Rico is tax-free. His son has type 1 diabetes, and they couldn't get enough insulin for him. So they're trying to figure out how to stay in Puerto Rico. He saw my TikTok video. He's like, I can move back. His parents are in St. Louis. His siblings are in St. Louis. His son, who needs insulin, he was able to move that back. He's a real estate investor, and he's saving so much money on all he's doing. And he's just like, thank you for letting me come back. Puerto Rico was beautiful, but my son could not get insulin on time, which that's a scary scenario.
Oh yeah, it's life or death, honestly.
Yes.
So, wow. Sally, it has been great chatting with you, and I appreciate
I appreciate you having me, Jill. I want to make sure you get the link, because my affiliate link, because this is your audience. If somebody on the audience buys a trust, I do give a $600 when I get paid. I give a $600 JV agreement back to people, because I don't know enough people. The more people the people you talk to, the coaches. Unfortunately, coaches are putting out their time and effort. They should be saving money too.
Absolutely. And a lot of them have older parents who have homes, and they're in the same situation I'm in. And it's like,
yes.
Yeah. That's a lot of money to pay in taxes.
A lot of money. And, I do work with older people selling their forever home, going into assisted living. There's a crazy rule. It's called IRMA. I'm going to do it phonetically. Indian, Romeo, Mike, Alpha, Alpha. If you make more money over 65 in 1 year, where you make $91,000, let's say, from capital gains, from interest income, dividend income, royalties, what you get from your 401k distributions, pensions, things like that. it will affect your Part B, which is for doctors and medical tests. You could be paying the federal government to have Part B. And, I've talked to several families where, here in Charlotte, the father bought the house in 1972 for $30,000. That house is now worth over $900,000, and he needs the money to go into, assisted living care. If he's going to pay that much in capital gains and things like that, and the children are like, we need to do this because it can affect, you can petition saying it's a one-time deal, but how many people know how to deal with CMS, Centers for Medicare systems? You have to fill out paperwork, send in receipts and stuff. I mean, no, the gentleman who I helped, he's 71 years old. He fell down the stairs. He broke his hip. He doesn't have time to do this. His 3 children are working full time. They don't have time to figure this out. And if I can help family members figure out what they're doing and help them save, and that's my goal. That's what I love what I'm doing.
Wow. I don't believe people meet by accident, and I don't think this was an accident today. I truly believe you're here for a reason. And
Correct.
I will do whatever I can to help you shout that message out, because it's just so important.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I do believe in a friend of mine. I keep saying back to Proctor Gallagher Institute. I write down my goal 100 times a day. You work towards what you're doing, and she's like, "Oh, it's God's hand." I'm like, "Why isn't it God's hand?" There's Kissimmee, there's everything in the universe works together. So it's true.
It's all energy, and it all moves around, and it's interesting how it happens.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Jill. I appreciate getting the word out to your audience. Thank you for letting me be on your show.
Thank you for tuning in to the U World Order Showcase program. We hope today's episode has inspired you to consider how you can leverage your unique skills and talents to be the change you want to see in the world. If you're ready to take the next step and turn your passion into a 5-figure part-time business, we invite you to schedule a private consult at heartlifecoach.com. During our Passion to Profit Breakthrough session, we'll work together to identify your strengths, clarify your vision, and develop a tailored plan for achieving your goals. Don't settle for mediocrity or let fear hold you back from pursuing your dreams. With the right guidance and support, you can build a thriving business that brings you joy, financial freedom, and the opportunity to make a positive impact in the world. Head over to heartlifecoach.com today to schedule your Passion to Profit Breakthrough session and take the first step towards creating the life you've always wanted. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on the U World Order Showcase program.